Now to a CNN exclusive interview with our very own Chloe Melas. In a wide-ranging interview, Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, is opening up about politics, philanthropy, and the economy. He and his partner, Lauren Sanchez, also tell CNN they're writing a $100 million check to the legendary country singer Dolly Parton to help her advance her own charity work. Watch.
Talk to me about choosing Dolly Parton.
Well, look at what she's done and how she's led her life. And the way she's done it, these bold things, always with civility and kindness. She's a unifier. You know, we have big problems in the world, and the way to get big problems done is you have to work together. We have too many examples in the world of conflict and people using ad hominem attacks on social media and so on and so on. You won't find Dolly Parton doing that.
And when you think of Dolly, look, everyone smiles, right? And all she wants to do is bring light into other people's world. That's all. And so we couldn't have thought of someone better than to give this award to Dolly.
The nation is very divided right now on many issues. Do you think that the American dream is something that really is still attainable right now?
Well, I'm an optimist. I think the American dream is and will be even more attainable in the future. Look, one of the things that I don't like about the current environment is that I think there's a lot of division. I think that people use conflict as a tool to achieve their own ends. I don't think it's a good tool. We see sometimes in our political sphere certain politicians criticize other politicians. They criticize their motives, their character. They call them names. Once you've done that, it's hard to work with somebody. And that's why we created the Courage and Civility Award, because we want to highlight people who don't do that.
And we wanted to amplify their voices, you know, because the voices that are really negative seem to get amplified in this world.
You know, when you go and you look at your net worth, it's too much money to even spend in a lifetime. Do you plan to give away the majority of your wealth in your lifetime?
Yeah, I do. And the hard part is figuring out how to do it in a levered way. It's not easy. You know, building Amazon was not easy. It took a lot of hard work, a bunch of very smart teammates, and I'm finding, and I think Lauren's finding the same thing, that philanthropy is very similar. It's not easy, it's really hard, and there are a bunch of ways that I think that you could do ineffective things too. So we're building the capacity to be able to give away this money.
How do you decide where to put your efforts?
There are so many places where philanthropists and anybody who wants to donate to charity can put their money to work. I feel like you have to do things at two time scales. You have to work on the urgent, the here and now, the immediate, and you have to work on the long term. So the Bezos Earth Fund is sort of about this, it's a 10-year commitment to work on these really big problems that we have on sustainability and conservation and restoration. The Day One Fund, where we do work on the here and now, the urgent food security, homelessness, transient homelessness. There's all kinds of very important problems in that arena too.
Talk to me about this team that you two have built together.
That's a good word. We're really great teammates, and we also have a lot of fun together, and we love each other.
True.
So I love how we work together. We always look at each other and like, we're the team.
It's easy, you know, we bring each other energy, we respect each other, so it's fun to work together.
Let's bring in our own Chloe Melas, who sat down with the two of them. It just goes without saying, it is so hard to get time with them. So the fact that you're the one they chose to sit down with says a lot.
Thank you. Well, look, it's the first time that we've heard from them together in 4 years, and the first time ever since they first came out as a couple in 2019. And you know, he doesn't really give sit-down interviews, and it was all pegged to obviously giving Dolly Parton this $100 million grant Friday night at a private event at his home. He's previously given one to our own CNN Van Jones, Jose Andres. But we did talk about potentially buying the NFL Commanders, the Washington Commanders. And we did talk about Lauren wanting to go to space with an all-female crew. So this was a very wide-ranging interview at their home in DC that lasted over 20 minutes.
Yeah, and of course, he's one of the wealthiest men, one of the most powerful men in the world because of course, what he has built at Amazon and other entities. He has been fretting about the economy. He has been speaking out. He's clashed with the White House on what he believes are the real issues. What did he say to you about where things stand in his view?
Well, look, he recently tweeted, batten down the hatches. So I wanted to know, what is your take on the recession? Are we in one? Take a listen to what he had to say. We are in some tough economic times.
Yeah.
Some people say that perhaps we're already in a recession. Do you think that we're in one? And what is your advice for small business owners?
I don't know whether we're technically in a recession. I know economists argue over that, and they have certain technical definitions. What I can tell you is the economy does not look great right now. Things are slowing down. You're seeing layoffs in many, many sectors of the economy. People are slowing down. The probabilities say if we're not in a recession right now, we're likely to be in one very soon. So my advice to people, whether they're small business owners or, is take some risk off the table. If you were going to make a purchase, maybe slow down that purchase a little bit. Keep some dry powder on hand and wait a bit and see how. Try to reduce some risk in your business or your life.
Well, you tweeted batten down the hatches. That's what you mean by that?
That's what I mean. Let's say if you're an individual and you're thinking about buying a new, large screen TV, maybe slow that down, keep that cash, see what happens. Same thing with a refrigerator or a new car or whatever. Just take some risk off the table. If you're a small business, maybe delay some capital purchases. Do you really need that new piece of equipment? Maybe it can wait a little bit. Have some cash on hand. Just a little bit of risk reduction could make the difference for that small business if we do get into even more serious economic problems. So you got to play the probabilities a little bit.
Any idea in terms of what you're hearing or just with your expertise as to how long this recession could last?
I don't think even the most experienced economists in the world can answer that question. It's a very challenging thing to try and estimate. So I think you just have to try and be reasonable about it, take as much risk off the table as you can for yourself. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
So you heard Jeff Bezos right there say that if you're looking to make some big purchases, to maybe think twice about it for right now, to keep some powder on hand, he was saying. And then, we're in the midst of a tech recession with all of these layoffs in the industry, and it's a really uncertain time. And, we also got into other things, like I said, in space and what it looks like on their Saturday night and how they fight over what movies to watch. And so later in the day, we'll show you some more.
What's interesting, and you were talking about, sort of the buzz around him. See, I saw him and Lauren at the Portrait Gallery unveiling with Clive Davis. So you have all of these people in the room. He's at the top of the celebrity CEOs. Not that he's a founder, but who was in the room? Marianne Edelman-Wright, Jose Andres, Venus and Serena Williams, Hillary Clinton, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Clive Davis. People were focused on them, but who had the biggest buzz?
Tell me.
Jeff Bezos.
He did go to space.
Yeah.
There's that too, on top of everything else.
And it sounds like I'll say again, that she's planning to go with an all-female crew in 2023. So there you go.
Yeah.
Chloe,
and I
thank you
forgot
for
to
that.
mention Nancy Pelosi, too.
Oh.
There was a big buzz around her.
Yes.
And of course, you can watch the full interview on CNN.com. I know that is something everyone wants to see what he says, since it is so rare that he sits down to speak with reporters.
Really great interview, Chloe.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Chloe.
it.